Welcome back everyone, I'm Matt and this is All Things Story, the channel where we discuss the inner workings of story. Today we're going to look at voice and the biggest mistakes I see made with it. As always, if there's a topic you want me to unpick, let me know in the comments. Let's get into it. In the world of storytelling, voice is on the tip of everyone's tongue. Writers are always concerned about it, asking, how was the character's voice? Did you enjoy the narrator's voice? And readers always remember it, saying things like, I loved her voice, it spoke to me, or I just couldn't get into this story because of the character's voice. It's important, but so many writers get it wrong because they think it's something that it's not. So what is voice? Simply put, it's the voice of a character, what they say. That could be the narrator or a character in the story. It's important because it's what makes a character feel real and allows them to be distinct. It's also an element among plot and world building that immerses readers into the story. But in search of voice, writers often make the mistake of not scratching deep enough, or focusing on the aesthetic around the voice, the accent, the tics, the timbre, rather than the meat, than what they say. Across a story, this leaves readers confused and not understanding who the character is. So here, now I'm going to explore that faux pas and show why it's not how a character speaks that makes their voice, but what they say. To drive home my point, I'll be looking at three voices. The Reverend Mother in Dune Messiah, Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games, and Johnny from The Room. Yes, The Room. And I'll be discussing how their voices are presented in their stories. So, the Reverend Mother, Gaius Helen, is a figure of control. She is a leading member of the Bene Gesserit, a group of mysterious witches in the Dune universe, who through manipulation and coercion control many of the key figures and families in the universe to achieve an order of things. She is someone who focuses on influence and power. And this is constantly represented in her voice. We understand who she is and what she values, and are drawn into her character all through her voice. But not by, as I've said, her accent or superficial elements. She's brought alive through what she says. So in Dune Messiah, she's held captive by Paul. And when he summons her, notice what she sees and how she sees it. FYI, Herbert uses third-person near perspective. Size of the Citadel began to oppress her. The place reeked of terrifying physical power. No planet, no civilization in all human history had never before seen such man-made immensity. And continuing, as she approached with her escort, the door swung inward, an immense and silent movement. Through the towering doorway she marched, with her guards, into the grand reception hall of Emperor Paul Atreides, Muad'Dib, before whom all people are dwarfed. Now she saw the effect of that popular saying at work. So she sees the world around her in terms of power. Her mind speaks of the oppressive and immense nature of these structures. Her voice is an extension of her worldview. It syncs with it. Readers understand her further because of it. Frank Herbert was able to voice Gaius Helen because he understood her. That's how well-written voices are achieved. It's not the small world, the tics, the accents, though they come in hand. It's the bigger elements. Our characters engage in the world in a manner that reflects who they are. Gaius Helen is all about power, so her voice, what she says and thinks, is a reflection. This is similarly the case for Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games. Now, Katniss is a product of her experiences, like all characters. She raised herself, by and large, in challenging circumstances as the main breadwinner for her family, and the survival of her sister and mother take precedence of everything. This pressure throughout her life, with the added backdrop of a brutal world that preys on the weak, molds Katniss into a blunt, cold, no-nonsense person. This is who she is, and again, it's reflected in her voice. Here's an example from the opening page. When I wake up, the outside of the bed is cold. My fingers stretch out, seeking Prim's warmth, but finding only the rough canvas cover of the mattress. I prop myself up on one elbow. There's enough light in the bedroom to see them. Sitting at Prim's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat. He hates me. I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him. The last thing I needed was another mouth to feed. This is the reader's first image of Katniss. And what does her voice reveal? Well, firstly, she isn't flowery or expressive with her word choices. She's very economical and to the point, which as the story progresses, readers learn this is who she is. Her love for Prim, her sister, is present, another feature of who Katniss is. And lastly, we see how she tried to kill a cat, Prim's cat, because she didn't need another mouth to feed. Voice here showing her values and how she saw the cat as an obstacle to her job, feeding her family, and so thought nothing about killing it. Again, it's not the small words that pull us in, that color who she is. It's what she says, what she shares, what she focuses on. She has the voice of someone who has lived her life, who has been hardened by it. And like Frank Herbert with Dune, Suzanne Collins understands who Katniss is, and that allows her to voice her in a way that is authentic to her and distinct. When you don't focus on what a character says, when you don't understand who they are or what they want, you create characters who don't seem real. This is the case with Johnny from Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Though it's a wonderful and bizarre watch, The Room is a brilliant example of what not to do with storytelling. And that arm of mistakes carries over to voice, and none more so than the main character, Johnny. He says random things, odd things, surreal things at various moments, no matter the context. What he says doesn't reflect a consistent personality or worldview. And so after 2 hours of watching, you never know who Johnny is. Don't get a sense of him through what he says. If Gaius Helen or Katniss were to walk in a room, readers, once they're familiar with them, would have an idea of how they'd respond to a situation and what they'd say, because their voices have made them distinct. However, with Johnny, that remains a mystery and shows just how distancing a weak voice can be. Throughout, Johnny speaks in catchphrases, in pieces of sentences that could fit anywhere. His writer wanted him to say profound things without understanding whether or not Johnny would say these things or value them or even why he's saying. Here's an example.
How was work today?
Oh, pretty good. We got a new client at the bank. We'll make a lot of money.
What client?
I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
Oh, come on, why not?
No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life?
Now, that they're talking about work is good. It's an opportunity to gain insight into both, but the exchange teaches us nothing. Johnny doesn't wish to share any details and then abruptly asks Mark about his sex life. All watchers learn from this is confusion. Why has the work client been mentioned at all? Why has Johnny decided to switch to Mark's sex life? There's no flow or purpose. It also doesn't reflect Johnny, though in all honesty, audiences never understand who Johnny is as a character. And it's scenes like this that keep him a mystery. Johnny constantly switches and shifts between topics.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Which could have been a character trait, something that made him distinct and real and layered, but it wasn't. Instead of a trait, it was simply a product of being poorly written and a writer not understanding voice and focusing on phrases that sound cool or noticeable. What Johnny said and how it was an extension of him, it seemed wasn't understood or wasn't a concern, strangely.
A lot of people love each other. The world would be a better place to live.
So that's why voice is about the big words and not the small. It's found in what a character says, what they notice, what they perceive, how they respond to the world. Because voice is about expressing who a character is. Accents and repeated phrases give color, but voice is remembered through the power of what's said. We saw how Gaius Helen and Katniss Everdeen spoke as extensions of themselves. They spoke as they saw the world and as how the world has shaped them. Helen was all about power and oppression, and so she saw those elements in her descriptions and experiences. Katniss lived a life of survival. That shaped her and her voice. There was little color, little life, except for when mentioning her sister, which is actually a perfect representation of her world. Johnny's voice, on the other hand, wasn't distinct to him. It wasn't a vessel of reflection of who he was. It was simply a reflection of what the writer wanted to express. It wasn't authentic to his character and left readers wondering kind of who this character was. Voice is about a writer's understanding of a character. When a writer understands the person they're writing, voice should come easier and reflect the person speaking. When a writer doesn't know or doesn't focus on who a character is, then voice becomes detached, becomes something that fits anyone and ultimately no one. The key is putting yourself in a character's shoes and seeing the world as they are. Thanks for watching. Tell me some of your favorite voices in the comments. I'd love to hear them.